Every manipulator has the same goal: access to your mind. That's how every psychological operation works, whether it's global or personal. Step 1, control perception. Step 2, distort reality. Step 3, condition compliance. And that's exactly what happens in narcissistic relationships. You start doubting your instincts, defending yourself against things that were never true, and apologizing for things that never happened. I spent the last 20 years studying self-worth and narcissistic relationships. As a coach, author, and survivor, I teach simple tools to help you spot manipulation and stop it in its tracks. In this video, I'll show you 3 formulas that end a narcissist psy-op instantly, the words that expose it, why they work, and when to use them. Every psychological operation begins the same way, by defining perception. Usually, that starts with a label. You've seen how this works on a large global scale. Someone gets hit with a label, a word that carries a lot of social weight, a word that instantly puts them in the bad category, and it doesn't matter if it's true or not. The label alone is enough to make everybody go, okay, step back. And because most people don't want to be associated with whatever that word is, they rush to prove that they're against it. They explain, defend, distance, or apologize, anything to show that they're not like that. That's how power shifts. The moment a label sticks, it rewrites who holds moral ground. The same thing happens with a narcissist. They use words to make you feel misunderstood or morally wrong. Words like selfish, cruel, narcissist. Words like uncaring, sensitive, crazy. If this sounds familiar and you want to assess the level of risk you're dealing with, I put together a quick narcissist protection checklist, links in the description. When they use these kinds of words against you, it creates instant dissonance. You know who you are, yet they're calling you the opposite. Your mind scrambles to make sense of it, like, how could they see me that way? Or what did I do wrong? It's normal to think that if you just explain yourself, you'll change their mind, or that with enough discussion, you'll find some common ground. It seems logical, but it doesn't work here because that word is bait, and they already know which word is going to get a reaction out of you. They've studied what you're proud of, and what you're most sensitive about, and what you most fear being accused of. The goal is dominance, pushing a button and making you react. In their mind, this isn't a relationship. It's a zero-sum game, and your defensiveness is their win. That's how a personal psy-op works. Find the trigger, get the reaction, and establish dominance. To get your power back, instead of defending against the word, you have to lean into it, the way an Aikido master redirects an attack. You don't resist the force. You join it, let it pass through, and turn it back on itself. The attack loses its power because you're no longer standing in opposition. You've stepped out of the game. Instead of defending against the word, you lean into it. You own it, and you redirect the strength, which means that you have to stop being afraid of that label, and you have to see it as a tool for empowerment. That doesn't mean pretending to be fine with it. It means actually finding the small truth in what they said and standing in it. They call you selfish? You say, yeah, I can be selfish. They call you cruel? And you say, I can see how you'd think that. They call you crazy? And you say, maybe do you. The formula here is simple. Agree with the label without apology or defense. They were counting on your fear, the need to prove that you're not sensitive or not crazy or not selfish. And when you stop defending your image, they lose their leverage. The power move here is understanding the tactic. It feeds on rigidity. The more tightly you cling to who you think you have to be, the easier you are to destabilize. Like in Aikido, power isn't about resistance. It's about redirection. So the more flexible you are, the more power you have. The more you can say, yes, that might be true about me, and mean it, the less leverage anyone has in any kind of attempt like this. When the first phase doesn't work, the psy-op escalates. So now they'll try to control how others see you. On a global scale, politically or in the media, this looks like narrative manipulation or propaganda, shaping public perception to make someone look unstable or dangerous so that everybody backs away. On a personal scale, it's the same tactic, and it's called a smear campaign. The manipulator gets out in front of the story, framing events, conversations, or conflicts in a way that protects their image and discredits you before you've even spoken. It's not about what's true, it's about who controls the story first. And it works because most people don't want to challenge what looks like the majority view. When it seems like everyone believes something, they'll go along, not necessarily because they agree, but because they don't want to stand alone. And that's what makes the smear campaign so effective. It doesn't rely on evidence, it relies on perception independent of the truth. You'll see it anywhere reputation matters: at work, in families, in friend groups, even online. The manipulator gets out in front of the story, shaping events or conflicts to protect their image and discredit you before you've even spoken. And by the time you do, people around you feel like it's dangerous to align with you. I wish I'd known about this 15 years ago when I was dealing with my ex-husband's smear campaign. At the time, I was trying to get my daughter into therapy because I was worried about how she was handling the divorce. But instead of dealing with me directly or supporting her, my ex went around me to her teacher, her principal, and the school counselor to block it. He said I was making things up, that nothing was wrong, and got them to sign affidavits for court. It was devastating, and I had no idea how to handle it. But just to show you what I would do now if this happened, I'd use the tools that I built into my unmanipulatable 5-day training, and I put everything I've learned in the past 25 years into these tools. It's the same frameworks I use in my books, my classes, and with private clients. It's all in one place, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time I need to figure something out, and I just drop in the situation, and it shows me exactly what's happening and what to do next. So watch this part right here. The tool names exactly what's happening. It calls it a smear campaign designed to isolate, discredit, and to make you doubt yourself. And then it gives this grounded, strategic script for how to respond to the principal or the teacher. I understand you've spoken with my ex-husband regarding our daughter. I want to ensure that her needs are being fully supported. I've observed some behaviors that concern me, and I'm working with professionals to address them. If you have any observations or concerns about her well-being, I'd appreciate it if you could share them directly with me. And I wish I had had that back then because it's calm, factual, and completely focused on my daughter's well-being instead of the drama. And as I said, at the time, I had no idea how to handle it, and I did the exact wrong thing. I confronted everyone, the teacher, the principal, the school counselor. In my desperation, I walked right into the trap. I was emotional, frantic, and I'm sure I looked exactly how he wanted to portray me, unhinged. And that smear campaign was one of the worst things I've ever gone through in my life. And that's why I built these tools, so that no one has to feel alone and powerless in situations like this. If you'd like this tool, it's inside my training. Grab the Narcissist Protection Checklist, and I'll send you an offer to access it. If you've ever been the target of a smear campaign, your first reaction is probably something like, how could they say that about me? Or how could people even believe this? This is so ridiculous. It's so untrue. You're probably stunned that anyone would fall for it. You might think that you could just point out how absurd it is and that people will see through it. But that's the psychological trap that the narcissist counts on. There's a name for this tactic. It's called ad hominem attack. And instead of arguing the facts, they attack the person saying them. That's exactly what a smear campaign does. It shifts the focus from the issue to your character, from truth to your credibility. And the moment you start defending yourself, you've accepted their premise. You've changed the subject from truth to your image, and that's how the operation wins. The only way to counter an ad hominem attack is simple but difficult. You refuse to change the subject. You don't get caught defending your character. You stay with the truth. You say something like, whether or not you like me doesn't change the facts. Or, my parenting isn't being debated. The issue is my ex's abuse. Or, my work ethic isn't the issue. The problem is the harassment. The formula is simple. Separate the accusation from the issue. Name what's real and bring the focus back to it. And every time you do, you stop the tactic. Not the smear itself, but the part that feeds on your reaction. Some people are never going to believe you, and unfortunately, that's just a fact of having had a narcissist in your life. But what you can control is how much power you give the narcissist. And in my life, the smear campaigns used against me have shown me something very important. The people who were never truly with me fell away, and the ones who could see through the manipulation stayed. It's painful, but it's also very clarifying because whoever's left after that are the people that you can actually trust. The next phase is where the psy-op reaches its peak, when the target has been so successfully framed that if they speak up, they're going to appear unstable or paranoid, so they stay quiet. The silence completes the operation. It's called anticipatory discrediting, and it works by training you into self-silence. You start believing that telling the truth will make you look obsessive, vindictive, or crazy. It's that inner voice inside of you that says, don't burn bridges, or don't cause drama, or don't badmouth the other parent, take the high road. The message underneath is always the same. Be quiet. With a narcissist, they don't even need to orchestrate this phase. By this point, you're doing it for them. They've already planted the idea that you're dramatic or unstable or obsessed, and your fear of proving them right keeps you silent. But your silence protects them, not you. The way out is what I call doubling down. You double down on the truth. You double down on what happened. Smaller isn't safer here. You expand instead of shrinking. You tell the truth without apology, without diluting it, and without self-editing, because silence protects the lie. So the antidote to suppression is simple: truth in plain sight. So here's the formula. Name what happened, state that it wasn't okay. That's it. You just name reality and you reject its normalization. This happened and it wasn't okay. This happened to me and it's not okay. You don't have to prove or defend it. You just have to double down on the truth. Thanks for watching. YouTube thinks you're going to like this video on screen. Right here. Yeah, that's the one. Click it to learn even more about spotting narcissists and protecting yourself against manipulation. I'll see you over there. Okay, bye.